Blessed be everyone. Today we're going to be doing some knot magic. But before we do, hi, I'm Sandra from MysteryWitchSchool.com. If you're new to the channel and you want to become Wiccan or you want to know more about Wicca, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss any videos. Knot magic, also known as cord magic, is a very old form of magic. And today I want to show you 3 different techniques that you can use that are very, very simple with cords, knots made in string, yarn, or whatever it is that you're wanting to use. I do have another video on how to use cord and color magic together, so you may want to have a look at that video. I'll put the link to that in the description field below this one, and check out an actual traditional spell that you can use cord magic and color in. So today the first one we're going to work on is knot magic, where you're bringing 2 things together. So when it comes to sympathetic magic, the whole idea is that the spell itself mimics what it is you're wanting to achieve in the real world. So in this case, knot magic is wanting to bring things together. It's wanting to bind things, tie the knot. Or you may want to do the opposite and untie something. So with sympathetic magic, what we would do is use some method of binding in order to bind 2 things together. It could be 2 people that you're wanting to bind, yourself and someone else. It could be that you're wanting to bind yourself to a situation that you feel you're going to lose, or that you're worried about losing. For example, you may have a job or a career that is under threat, and so you're wanting to keep that. So you may want to do a binding spell or a knot spell to help bind you to that company or place of work. In which case, what you would do is you would choose a cord that represents that place of work. So it could be the colors in the company logo, or it could just be a plain colored string, and maybe you just tie a copy of the logo to the string to represent that company. And then when you are in your spell and you're all set up, you would then name the cord. You would say this cord now represents such and such company. Then you'd find another cord to represent yourself. And if you're representing yourself at all in magic, it's always a good idea to work astrologically with color. So if your rising sign or sun sign, you know what your planets are of those signs, use the color of those planets. So your rising sign is really more important than your sun sign when it comes to these things. So if you don't know what your rising sign is, you do need to know your date, your time of birth and your place of birth. If you don't know any of that information, like you don't know the exact time you were born, then just stick with your sun sign. So for example, if you are a Libra or a Taurus, you would choose the color green because your planet is Venus. If you are rising Virgo or Gemini, you would choose yellow because the ruling planet is Mercury. And you can also maybe put some hair or something of yourself into the cord as well, just by, again, tying it in there with a knot. And then when you get into your spell, you then hold your cord up and say, this cord now represents myself. Then you take the 2 cords together. You may have pre-written something that you want to say to bind them together, or you may just simply bind them together and say, I now bind myself to such and such job at whatever name, corporation, company, or whatever. We are bound together. And that's it. That's how you bind yourself. Now you can do the same, of course, with 2 people. If you're working with people, again, if you know the astrology, if you know their rising sign or their sun sign, you can use the appropriate color. Great to use if you are wanting to have a relationship that is more serious and you're wanting to do some kind of hand fasting like thing without it being formal or anything like that. Cord magic is great to use. Number 2 is the opposite. It's where you're wanting to unknot something. I like to use a thin piece of yarn for this because you want the knot to be difficult to unravel. And the reason why you want it to be difficult and challenging to unravel is because if you've got something that you're feeling bound to, that you're wanting to unbind yourself from, or if you're feeling knotted up about something, if you could easily unbind yourself or could easily release yourself from that feeling, you're probably not going to go to all of the effort of doing magic in the first place. So that means that whatever it is that you're wanting to unbind yourself from or you're wanting to unravel is something that is quite challenging. So that might be a situation, it might be a relationship, it might be a way that you feel, it might be your mindset, it might be beliefs about yourself that you're wanting to unravel and unbind from. Whatever it is, this is where you get to feel the emotion of whatever it is that you're feeling. So it might be anger, resentment, fear, sadness, grief, whatever it is. Feel that. So take your string when you're in your magical space and you're all set up. Feel the emotions that you're wanting to free yourself from, because really at the end of the day, it's the emotion you're wanting to free yourself from. And when you're ready, tie the knot and then really pull that string tight so that the knot is really tight. Then it's time to try and unravel the knot. Now, if you've done it really tight on a really small piece or thin piece of string, it's going to be a real chore to unravel, and you probably will find you may need to use an implement to help you unravel the knot. And if it can take you a good half an hour and you can get quite frustrated and annoyed doing it, that's a good thing, because you need to put in the effort in order to be able to vibrationally free yourself from the situation. So technique number 3 is where we're going to use petition magic. So this is the same as any type of petition, whether it's just straight petition magic or you're using a petition with a candle. You're going to write out whatever it is that your petition is. And you're going to simply take again your cord. You may want to again use the color corresponding to your ruling planet or the ruling planet of whoever it is you may be doing this for, if you're doing it for someone else. Or you can just use some plain string. It can be that normal sort of brown or white colored string if you're just wanting to go neutral. You can use this as a witch's petition ladder if you have a goal or something that's got a lot of steps to achieving it. So it could be, you may have a goal where you want to own a home. So there's a lot of steps you've got to take to own a home. So you've got to, of course, have the money, you've got to find the home, you've got to get approval for a loan. There's all these steps along the way. So you may want to do a home ladder spell with your cord. Or you may just want to do a ladder for getting a job, building a business, or anything that involves steps along the way. You can, of course, use this with just one petition as well. When you're in your spell space, you want to consecrate your cord. So consecrate your cord and cleanse the cord for all of these techniques. I forgot to mention that at the beginning. Take your petition. You can put oils on your petition. You can use herbs and tie it to the cord and bind it and say whatever spell it is you're wanting to say. These two are still bound together. I forgot to unbind them. You could hang this up somewhere, or you can put it away in a spell box. With all of these spells, you can put them away somewhere safe. With the first one, if you're doing it for a job, then try and keep it at your workplace if that's possible. Otherwise, if you can't, then keep it somewhere safe in a spell box. When you've done the unraveling of the second technique that I showed you, you don't need to keep that anywhere because you've broken it, you've unraveled it. So you can then just either use the cord again or you could throw it out. If it's just a little piece of yarn, you may just want to discard it rather than keep it. But if it's more expensive cord like this, you may want to cleanse and consecrate it again to neutralize it so that you can use it again in the future. So as with all the spells, you can use the Spellcaster Checklist, which is a free PDF that I have that Gives you a checklist of the sorts of things to consider before you do your spells and to plan them and to make sure that they're more likely going to work. You can get a copy of that by simply going into the description field below this video and clicking on the link of the Spellcast checklist to download it if you haven't already done so. If you like the video, hit the like button, share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe. And I'm Sandra from MysteryWitchSchool.com. Blessed be.